Tires, start your engine!
Tuning up your work week. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse and brought to you by Hercules Tires and Grunt Style Apparel. Now, please welcome your show hosts. One's a spottin' and one's a grinnin'. Here's Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. After the week that was at Dover, and now we head to Talladega Superspeedway. It is Bloomin' Monday because Kevin Harvick got another top 10 finish. Head on over to Outback Steakhouse. Tell them you want that free
Bloomin' Onion.
Because Kevin Harvick pulled off another top 10 finish with any purchase. Get that free Bloomin' Onion. But Chase Elliott goes back to victory lane. Second straight week we've had one of the young guns go to victory lane, and almost exactly like the week before where Ryan Blaney was in the right place at the right time and capitalized, so too did Chase Elliott.
Yeah, Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski made a late race decision to stay out under a caution. And if the second caution doesn't come out, both of those guys are going to get chewed up with new tires. Chase Elliott, we end up getting involved in a wreck there with Eric Amarola. They throw a red flag. That allows Chase's tires to cool down, and they have a number of laps on them that the other guys don't because they had just pitted, and they were going to chew us up as well. But allowing those tires to cool down gave him just enough energy to go back racing green, white, checkered. He's able to hold off Denny Hamlin, who had taken two tires. Denny really looking for that first win, even though he's not in the last round of the playoffs. He really still wants to win. Chase advances back into that third round of the playoffs with that win, and kudos to those guys for being able to pull that out. Just like the Roval, Ryan Blaney, just like you said, riding along happily in third.
Minding his own business.
Chase Elliott was going to be happy riding around top five for a little bit, and then through a victim of circumstance, actually was able to pull out that victory.
If someone had told you before the season that guys like Denny Hamlin, Jimmy Johnson, Kyle Larson would not have a win at this point of the season, would you have believed them?
I would have taken that bet and thinking full well those three drivers would have at least
one of them,
at least one win apiece.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson's run second multiple times. Jimmy Johnson, again, 7-time champion, has their black cat under the Friday the 13th under the ladder somewhere. I don't know what's going on over there. And then, of course, Denny Hamlin, a perennial championship contender. None of them have victories. And, again, Dover Monster was really, really tough for most of the three. Denny was able to get back to second with that late race caution. Jimmy had what a day Jimmy had. And then Larson,
unbelievable,
who was fast on Friday and Saturday, was never able to capitalize on that performance. So very unusual circumstances. But kudos to Chase Elliott. He gets to go to Talladega like we got to go to the Roval last week and enjoy ourselves. He gets to go to Talladega and just really take a breath of fresh air and enjoy it.
And not worry. Here's what Chase Elliott had to say after his big victory.
Certainly didn't come easy today, and just and so glad we could get a win. Last fall was such a tough race for me. As I've said to a bunch of people, it was probably the toughest day of my career, and just to be able to come back and kind of put those things behind you and prove that you belong is very gratifying, and I just thankful for the opportunity. And it makes you appreciate a day like today more. I can assure you, if last year would have happened, I wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I do today. When you have those hard days, that certainly makes you learn, and it gives you no choice but to grow up a little bit, be in a position to do it again. I mean, just for the thing to work out, to have a chance to win today is crazy, as is a year later. So, this is an important race to be able to move on, huge. The same thing was riding on it last year and realized we missed out on a hell of an opportunity. So, just a great effort today. Fell behind early and fought back to, have a great shot there at the end.
I love the Miles the Monster logo on the back of the chairs there. That's really cool. But a question occurred to me yesterday. Did we expect too much from Chase Elliott too soon?
He was branded as America's winner or whatever the heck he was branded as.
So young.
A year. Right, exactly right. He's still very inexperienced from the Cup side. We have a very hard,
relatively speaking.
Correctly right. Yes, his dad was Bill Elliott, and yes, he grew up in a racing family, but so did a lot of other drivers. We put some pressure on him going to Hendrick Motorsports, going into the car of Jeff Gordon, everything. But as a company, those guys have still trying to make the corner. Again, we just mentioned Jimmy Johnson has not won a race. Alex Bowman's a rookie. Who's Chase Elliott leaning on, right, to gather this experience? Is he leaning on Jimmy Johnson, or at this point is Jimmy Johnson leaning on him? And you have to have very broad shoulders to help those guys over there. And we've seen that pressure. You've seen how relaxed he gets when he can get a win. he doesn't feel the excitement of a
But
win.
he kind of stays that way the whole time regardless, but he beats himself up when things don't go right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel an excitement when he wins. He feels a relief.
Yeah.
And he needs to learn to appreciate those wins instead of beating himself up for the second place finishes.
I think maybe you saw a little of that in what he was saying there. He is coming around to that mindset. We've got a big show coming up for you on MRN Motorsports Monday this week. Don't forget, in addition to recapping what happened at Dover, looking ahead at Talladega, where the trucks come back for their next playoff race, we'll also have Xfinity winner Christopher Bell on hand. He won the race at Dover and now advances into the next round of the playoffs. That was a cutoff race for those guys, so he is all set there. Christopher Bell is. They will be back at Kansas Speedway in 2 weeks, but Bell will join us a little bit later on the program. On track, off track as well, and a more full preview of Talladega. It's all coming up on MRN Motorsports Monday.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
What would it look like if we all listened more? Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, including my personal favorite, Plain Heathen Mischief by Martin Clark. And now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month they get 3 titles of their choice, 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and fitness programs that they can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try it free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/motorsports or by texting motorsports to 500-500. Again, that's audible.com, AUDIBLE, audible.com/motorsports. Or text motorsports to 500-500 to try it free today.
As the white flag flies here at Dover, Chase Elliott, Hamlin, Logano, Eric Jones, and Kurt Busch.
For the final time into turns 1 and 2, Chase Elliott's lead, it's 2 car lengths over Denny Hamlin. They're scrambling from third on back. Up front, Chase Elliott comes off the end of the back straightaway. He's about to tame the monster.
Chase Elliott pulling away from Denny Hamlin off turn number 4. He'll score his 2nd win of the year, and he'll do it here today at Dover International Speedway, and he knows he's moving on to the round of 8.
A big hug from Mr. Hendrick. Chase Elliott standing on top of the car, which I thought was a no-no, by the way. And you heard Jeff Striegel, Mike Bagley, and Joe Moore on the call. As we've been doing all year, folks can get involved with this win with Chase Elliott.
You know, Chase Elliott did get on the roof of that car, but you won't buy the car with the dent on it. But all of those race-winning die casts of Chase Elliott's win at the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway, which was the 50th anniversary of that race, by the way. You can get all of those, as well as all race-winning and other die-casts are available at www.planbsales.com. That would be a great car. Look how good that car looks. It doesn't.
The Napa people are happy.
It doesn't come with the smoke.
Oh, really?
No smoke. No.
You have to pay extra for that?
No, but you get the green spoiler and the green tinted visor and the green wicker up front, so it's a cool looking
The detail
car.
on those is amazing,
Yes,
how
absolutely.
they get right down to the nitty-gritty with
look,
it.
We have the roof flaps on these. We got the hood and the trunks open.
You name it.
The only thing you don't have is the driver inside.
Oh, really? There's no driver there?
No, you got to put
all right.
we'll
no
driver. No
Yeah.
driver supplied.
All right, let's talk a little on track, off track now, the portion of the show where we discuss some things going well in the sport and some things not going quite so well. Let's start with you because we had some fun on Sunday morning at the track.
Yeah, you know, with the intensity and the long season, tempers flare and drivers get in arguments. And last week at the Roval, we saw Martin Truex bash into the back of the 48 after the race because he wasn't happy with Jimmy Johnson spinning himself out. And Jimmy Johnson and Cole Pern had a conversation, and Cole made a comment about, you want to make it up to my guys? Go buy us road bikes. Jimmy's a big road bike guy. Those bikes cost about $5,000 to $10,000 a piece. And Cole Pern made a little comment to Jimmy Johnson. Well, Jimmy manned up and said, okay, I'm going to go get your road crew some bikes. And this is exactly what he did. He went to Dover and took care of it, went to the Walmart, and as you can see, he bought...
I've never seen anybody put them in shopping carts before.
He bought about 20, 25 bikes for the road crew and had them sitting there up on the trailer when the crew came
Look at
in.
the streamers.
came in, the guys, and the funny part about it was dark when the teams got in, and Cole Pern's team didn't see it right away until the sun came up. And then actually in a goodwill gesture during the event, during the day, they were actually giving those bikes away to young kids and fans. And some guys were actually taking the bikes through the red carpet and allowing the drivers to get them signed. Really so that's fun. A really cool memento, a one-of-a-kind, one chance only. It'll never happen again, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to buy the bikes again because it kind of loses its meaning. But now some guys got a Martin Truex and a Cole Pern and a Jimmy Johnson signature. So in the day of intensity, it's really good to see a little bit of good-natured fun in the garage, and that's a great job by Jimmy Johnson.
And he had to talk the NASCAR officials into allowing him to go into the garage because it had been closed and nobody was supposed to be in there. But they, it's not like he snuck in there and did something to the cars. They kept an eye on him and made sure, okay, only go up there and do the bikes, and that's it. And that's what he did.
Yeah, and again, in today's day and time, when you see so much anger and competition level being so high, that's good to see Jimmy Johnson really break the ice and try to say, look, man, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. There was no ill will intent trying to wreck you there at the Roval, and it was just me going for the win.
All right. Mine is something that I haven't talked with you about, so I haven't gotten your opinion on it. But I like what NASCAR did last week to talk about changing the rules package. Some form of it will be used in 17 of 36 races next year. There are some exceptions. They will use. They won't use the air ducts that blow air out the sides more like we had seen in the Xfinity cars at Indianapolis. But they will go to a package similar to what we saw at the All-Star race, but with about 150 more horsepower. Because one of the things that drivers came out of that test or experiment, if you will, saying is we don't have as much throttle response. So they're working with the teams and the manufacturers to come up with a plan that would give them a little more throttle response to that. But I like the idea. It was exciting. I think eventually it'll need to be tweaked because the cream will rise to the top and the really good teams with a lot of resources will figure it out better than those without those resources. But for right now, it has produced some exciting racing. It's produced some tight racing, and I think that's what fans are clamoring for.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have to be careful what we ask for. We're trying to control costs in industry, and my only concern is now we've taken a motor that's considered an open or unrestricted engine that these engine manufacturers done a really good job of building and designing and engineering. And now we're going to take a motor that's considered a restrictor plate motor, essentially is what we're doing. And now the engineering and technology has to be ramped up for that. We can spend a lot of money trying to develop an engine that needs to breathe easier because it's going to be a restrictor plate style motor with a tapered spacer / restrictor plate on it. You call it what you want. It's restricting the air into the engine. The technology there is very expensive. So we just have to be careful. I am 100% happy about moving the configuration of the cars with an effort. I can't tell you, just like the Roval, we were very many questions up in the air about was it going to be a good race or a bad race. But the simple fact was Marcus Smith and those guys said, we're going to make a change. We understand the racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway wasn't the best. And that's what NASCAR has done. They're going, hey, we think we can make it better. Sometimes when you make it better, a change is in order, and that's what we're going to do for 2019. Who knows how far it goes, but it'll be definitely interesting from a fan standpoint to see what track, because it may not be all tracks react to this package very good, right?
Yeah.
If we ran this package at Martinsville, it's going to react differently than it would at California.
Exactly.
So we don't know how the package is going to respond throughout. Every race may not be a home run, but I think we're going to see really good results at certain tracks.
And I think one of those considerations was Pocono, where we saw too much off-throttle time, and when the guys went back to it, now this is Xfinity Series, granted, but they didn't have as much throttle response, as much get up and go as they would ordinarily. That's why that will be one of the tracks where they will use some parts of the package, but not the full thing. The question I had for you, I know you're not an engineer, you just play one on the radio, but the difference between a restrictor plate and a tapered spacer, because what I've heard from people I talk to in the garage is that there is a little bit better throttle response with a tapered spacer.
Because a tapered spacer is more engineered performance designed, it actually just performs better. A restrictor plate is simply a thin piece of metal that we put basically the bottom of the carburetor. It's very
with a hole punched in it.
It's very difficult to get that air to smooth back out, and the engine simply loses performance. We can take an engine with a tapered spacer with the same amount of airflow that a restrictor plate would allow, and it's going to perform better with the tapered spacer because it's more performance
because
designed.
of the way it gets the air into the engine.
It's more of a funnel. You're restricting like you would put a funnel where you're pouring oil something in your kitchen or in your motor car or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's allowing that air to flow easier. So you're going to have better performance, more efficiency with a tapered spacer than you would a restrictor plate.
All right, we've got a lot more on that package at mrn.com. You can see some illustrations of it. You can get a little more detail about which tracks will have what configuration of that package. The restrictor plates after this weekend at Talladega and next year at the Daytona 500 will be no more.
Done.
We'll go strictly to the tapered spacer.
That's exactly right.
All right, let's shift to off track now. What's stuck in your craw here right now?
Wow, not really what's stuck in my craw. It almost becomes a point in time when you're beating a dead horse, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last week we talked about the decision that Jimmy made, going for the win, really took his team directly out of the playoffs.
I loved it,
though. Absolutely, 100%. But the end result was it was a bad decision at the end. We were able to look back. They can't get they need to shake that black cat, man.
Yeah.
Under caution before the first green flag falls, they have a part failure with a ball joint, which I haven't seen a ball joint break under caution in 20 years.
Before the race even
started. I still say those guys are going to win 8 championships, but man, let's get the ship right on the 48. I understand we're going to have probably the sponsorship announcement. Lowe's is gone. I believe they're going to make a sponsorship announcement here in the next week or two regarding the future of that 48 team.
Yeah, I think you could say similar things about Eric Almirola as well, who's had some bad luck. 2 times his teammate has crashed when Eric Almirola looked like he's going to win the race, and it doesn't work out that way. All right, we got to take another break here on MRN Motorsports Monday. When we come back, the Xfinity winner from Dover, Christopher Bell, joins us.
Are you a serious diecast collector? Do you have a favorite driver? Are you looking for a gift for a race fan? No matter what the question, the answer is always PlanBSales.com. Plan B has all the latest in diecast from Lionel and apparel, artwork, and other items for your favorite driver in NASCAR or other forms of racing. Go to PlanBSales.com, key your driver's name in the handy search window, and look at all the options. Your one stop for diecast and other motorsports collectibles is PlanBSales.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice, Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse.
Christopher Bell, very smooth, losing a little ground right now, managing that distance back to Cole Custer. He runs the middle of the racetrack off turn number 2, down the backstretch into turn number 3. Let's see what lane he chooses. He goes to the low side, now lets it drift just a little bit. Nothing going to happen from Custer. Christopher Bell off turn 4.
5 car length advantage. To the stripe they come. Checkered flag in the air, and Christopher Bell wins the Bar Harbor 200 presented by Sea-Watch International at the Monster Mile.
Steve Post and Alex Hayden with the call on the Motor Racing Network. Christopher Bell wins for the 6th time in his rookie campaign, that Rheem Toyota there in the Xfinity Series. It was a cutoff race, 4 drivers eliminated, but the winner joins us on the guest line now. Christopher Bell is with us again. Man, Christopher, you guys have caught fire of late. You've been very strong all season long, but lately it doesn't seem like anything more than you've lit the fuse and gone to the front. You got to be riding a wave of confidence right now.
Yeah, man, I feel really good. Feel really good about our program, and like you said, we've been really good all year long, so it's nice to be able to be capitalizing on wins here late in the season, and hopefully we can possibly get another win at Kansas. If not, have a good run there and you know, just carry momentum to Homestead and hopefully have a good race there.
You know, 6 wins by anybody, let alone a rookie, is a fantastic year. You get a little bit of week off here before you start looking forward to the next race in Kansas. Do you feel like a rookie? And if you do, what do you feel like you need to work on to really capture this championship in 2018?
I mean, I guess I feel like a rookie. I've pretty much been a rookie my entire life up until this point. So, yeah, I guess so. But the biggest thing is just having a good race at Homestead. The way that this format works, everybody's equal going in there. So it really, that weekend, I'm not going to say it can make or break your season, because my season has been a great year with 6 wins. So even if we don't win the championship, we've had a successful year. But, we just need to go to Homestead with the best piece possible. And driving for Joe Gibbs Racing, I know that my race car is going to be extremely fast. And, if we can have a couple good practices and put it all on the line on Saturday afternoon at Homestead, then, that's all we can hope for.
You've had a well-deserved fast ride up the ladder, so to speak, in the NASCAR world after your dirt career. But was there a moment, I wonder, this year for you where a light bulb kind of came on and you said, okay, I think I've got this figured out now? Or was it more of a slow, steady progress type of situation?
I'd say it was more of a, just putting it all together slowly. Each week, even from the start of the year, starting at Atlanta, we went to Atlanta, Vegas, Phoenix, California, and I was really fast at all those races, but it was just a matter of staying fast throughout the entire race. I always had moments where I was the best car on the racetrack, and then I'd kind of fall off a little bit. So I think my communication with Jason and him understanding what I'm needing and what I'm saying inside the race car has allowed him to make better adjustments for me during the race, and now we're able to stay fast the entire race and not fall off, after early parts of the race or fall off later. So we're just getting the whole package together, and we're able to put races together.
We have a couple more races that are a little over a mile with Kansas, Fort Worth, and Phoenix, and in Homestead. Really, everything's over a mile leaving after this weekend. Dover was a unique animal with it being so much concrete. Do you find the concrete challenging? And if so, what was your biggest challenge for Saturday's race?
The concrete's just different. The thing about it is that it changes so much, so drastically as rubber gets laid down. So each restart, the concrete is clean where you're running because the cold tires pick up the rubber. And so it's always really, really grippy for 5-10 laps until the rubber gets laid down. And once the rubber gets laid down, then it starts to grease up a little bit, but it goes through a major transition within the first 20 laps of a run. So that's the one thing that's really unique about Dover is just how sticky and how gripped up it is early in the runs. And then as the tires wear, as rubber gets laid down, that goes away a little bit, and then you're able to move around. So at asphalt racetracks, you don't have that huge transition from clean racetrack to rubber down almost immediately like you do at Dover. But, Dover's a fast racetrack. Downforce matters a lot there. So I think we've got a really good operation going right now. Our cars have a lot of downforce in them, and we're doing good.
You mentioned the asphalt tracks, and you've got the week off coming up before you head to Kansas. Let's talk a little bit about that track. What are some of the particular challenges that track presents to you? Because, as you mentioned, you've been very fast at this style of track most of the season.
Yeah, Kansas is, I'm going to say it's a little bit more unique as compared to the other mile and a half because it's just really, really smooth. It's got a little bit of progressive banking, so that helps the top come in really good. It's really smooth. It has a fair amount of grip, and it stays pretty grippy through the entire run. So I think Kansas is, I'm not going to say one of the easier mile and a half, but there's just not a lot of character to it. You can run it pretty hard the entire run, and you're able to move right up by the wall, so that's always a lot of fun. So I enjoy going there. You get to hustle the car and run the top, so that's a lot of fun for me.
Well, you have a couple more races left to try to clinch a championship as a rookie, and that's over in the Xfinity Series. I know you don't do anything in your off time except for do more racing. What is that going to entail in your off week? I know you're going somewhere.
Yeah, I'm actually headed to the Midwest. The Outlaws have one rain out that they rescheduled, so they have a 3-day weekend coming up at Jacksonville, Illinois, Terre Haute, Indiana, and then Eldora over in Ohio. So get to go run some outlaw races this weekend, which I'm really excited about.
You mentioned earlier when we were talking about the transition from keeping the speed that you have at the beginning and lasting till the end. I remember Kevin Harvick saying one time that it's not really at the NASCAR level about who's fastest, but who can be fast the longest. Has that been a difficult transition from your dirt racing to the NASCAR world?
For sure. The hardest part about going from being a dirt racer to an asphalt racer is just how long the races are. And, whenever you go dirt racing, it's one run. you go out there, you have one set of tires, one tank of gas, and you go out there and you run as hard as you can, and when the checkered flag falls, that's it. Whereas NASCAR racing, you have multiple runs. The Truck Series was 3 runs a race. Well, now the Xfinity cars are 4 runs a race, and the Cup races are 6, 7, 8 runs at times. So each time you put tires on and fill the car up with fuel, you can make adjustments, and sometimes guys are better during certain parts of the race, and other times, like yesterday, the 4 car was just the best the entire race. So and that's really hard to do, to stay on top of your car and be the fastest over every run of the race. So that's definitely been the hardest part for me.
Yeah, a lot more opportunities for things to go wrong and go sideways on you. Well, you certainly have battled your way through it. Congratulations on the big win. 6th win for a rookie. That's a record in the Xfinity Series, and a week off before you head to Kansas. Christopher, congratulations, and look forward to catching up with you at Kansas, man.
Thank you.
There you go. He is really putting up some numbers, and he did the same thing in the Truck Series. A lot of these guys just moving up the ladder so quickly now, but the fans seem to really love the young guys.
From a team sport, the communication between driver, crew chief / spotter, and crew members is very, very important. Jason Ratcliffe came over from the Matt Kenseth car last year on the Cup side. He's in his first year working with Christopher Bell. To have this kind of success with 6 wins, which has never been done by a rookie, is outstanding. And if I still think Elliott Sadler and Justin Allgaier, those are my guys, man. I've been pulling for them all year.
You've been saying it all season.
I've been saying it all year. But until they show a little more speed than Christopher Bell, he'll be hoisting a championship in Homestead.
You're going to be interesting to watch down the stretch for sure. All right, we got to take another break here on MRN Motorsports Monday. When we come back, we'll shift focus and start looking toward Talladega, where the trucks come back.
Chris Crockett, straight from the NASCAR stands, here with another member of our Toyota racing family, Jason.
Hi there.
Oh, you seem impatient.
Oh, well, I've been holding it in for a while.
A while?
Since it started.
The race?
No, the season.
Wow. Guess you don't want to miss any action.
Nope, I don't.
Oh, did you just see Denny Hamlin take the lead?
I haven't taken my eyes off him.
Jason, you don't look so good. Can I offer you some water?
Absolutely not.
NASCAR and Toyota Racing. With a family like this, who knows the places we'll go in the playoffs? Learn more at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
Grunt style. The American fighting spirit is in everything we make. We are 500 patriots and veterans strong, bringing clothing manufacturing back to the United States of America. Always moving forward, never retreating, never giving up. We are Grunt Style, and this we'll defend. Get yours at gruntstyle.com.
I'm not blooming good, I'm blooming great. Put a shrimp on the barbie and sizzle my steak. Woo, I want that onion to bloom, and it get in my senses like a sonic boom. No rules, just right. So bold, so nice, and I'm so ready for that Outback steak tonight. Outback Steakhouse, that's what it's all about. Outback Steakhouse, blooming great.
I'm Kevin Harvick, and it's another Bloomin' Monday. Ask for your free Bloomin' Onion tonight at Outback Steakhouse. Now it's back to Woody Cain and Joey Meier.
Gonna have to start calling Kevin the Onion Man. He's getting all kinds of free bloomin' onions for folks all across the country. Head on over to Outback Steakhouse. Any purchase, you can get a free bloomin' onion.
Free.
That's the best word right there. All right, we head to Talladega, and it is a wild card, a crapshoot, whatever phrase you want to use. The difference is this time it's in the middle of a round instead of being a cutoff race. Is there any way to predict really anything about what's going to happen this weekend?
No, I think some guys are going to go in there. Obviously, the guys outside the cutoff line are going to try to be a little more aggressive to gain some points with a potential win. But you have that small group of cars that really just don't want to take their chances away from having a good run at Kansas. If you have a decent run at Talladega and then go to Kansas, you have a decent run, you can move on. Before, Talladega was the cutoff race, and you had the guys that had to win. Well, nobody realistically has to win that's inside the cutoff point. That's what's really good. So
just don't have a catastrophe.
Exactly right. Eric Amarola, Clint Boyle, Kyle Larson, and Alex Bowman can essentially run okay at Talladega and then run even better at Kansas. They're not in a must-win situation yet. The guys that are right there with Logano, Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, and Blaney, they don't want to have bad days, and they don't have to win. So it's going to be a very good chess match on who has to be safe and who wants to kind of push the issue. The only one that can go there with their hair ablazing, Chase Elliott.
Yeah, he absolutely can. Doesn't have to worry about much of anything. We asked several of the Cup guys what they're expecting at Talladega this weekend. Let's take a look.
You know, people focus on, just not getting the big one, and that's a big part of it. But you got to get stage points at that place. You can't go to Talladega or these speedways and not get any stage points. That's a killer to your day. When you start moving on rounds and the field gets the championship field gets smaller and smaller, you got to get stage points and finish well. So I think just being consistent.
A lot of strength in numbers. We have a lot of fast cars out there on the racetrack. I think we're able to work with each other as much as possible, and I think that keeps us, in some points, it kind of keeps us safe on the racetrack, and other times I think we show that we have a lot of speed as well. So for the 22 team, I know we either win or finish the top 3 or we crash. It seems like that's where we are because we're pretty aggressive when it comes to super speedway racing. I am as a driver. I think as a strategy we are. And
I look at last year, we had a lot of playoff points, so we could kind of play it easy a little bit last year, and we were able to have a shot to win and got in a crash there late, but there was so many cars that had crashed. We finished 12th, I think. But now, we don't have a whole lot of playoff points, so I feel like depending on how this weekend goes, we'll have to probably go out there and try and gain some stage points and get a good finish. And
there you go. Joey Logano won at Talladega earlier this year. The Penske cars, the Fords in particular, have been very strong at super speedways. I'm guessing we can expect more of that, even though that doesn't guarantee anything this weekend.
Bad news for the 2-car. We've wrecked all 3 restrictor plate races this year.
Uh-oh.
Good news, we've been in the top 3 during all 3 wrecks of the restrictor plate races this year. So we expect to perform well. The Fords work really well together. Brad does really well, good job. His spotter does an okay job.
That guy's okay, I guess.
Thank you. I was waiting to catch up.
Okay, I got you now. I'm with you.
So we do an okay job working well together. We expect big things during those 4 races. We have been crushed this year, starting with the Daytona 500, the second Daytona, the Talladega race in the spring. We have been crushed, but we've been running second, third, going for the lead. So we expect big things. We're going to be competing with our teammate, Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney. Those guys are very strong. They have very good cars, very good spotter-driver relationships. The other Blue Ovals,
Stenhouse is very good at these
exactly
tracks,
right, and there's so many of those guys that are getting better at this game that Brad used to be really good at by himself with maybe 1 or 2 other drivers. Now everybody's really learning, and we're going to go to Talladega. We want to win, absolutely, but we don't have to win, and that's the key element.
Yeah, it's a big feeling of relief. Camping World Truck Series also back in action at Talladega after they've had a long layoff after the Las Vegas race. Grant Enfinger wins there. He is a past Talladega winner. This is going to be a wild card race for those guys as well.
Yeah, it's a cutoff race, too. Talladega is the cutoff race. So then you got Martinsville, Texas, and Phoenix. Talladega, the truck race at Talladega is by far one of my top 3, top 5 races of the year.
It's thrilling.
The trucks race so well. When you talk about old school that everybody wants to throw out about an upside down 4 wide at any race, that's one of the best races from a drafting standpoint that we see. Look for the Johnny Sodders of the world, the Matt Craftons of the world to really dominate up front. But then you have a guy like Clay Greenfield who only runs a handful of races, and he always has really fast trucks, could always squeak in there for a win.
That's kind of what gives me hope about the new package we talked about earlier for the Cup cars. An example of how that can be effective is what the trucks do.
Exactly right. Where you're drag limited and the motor will produce more horsepower when it has some clean air in front of it or a drafting package to do. And, it's not a crapshoot. It's not anybody's game, but a lot of different people can win these races.
All right, a couple of other things to tell you about before we go. The Camping World Truck Series race will come your way at 12:30 Eastern Time Saturday. The Freight Auctions 250. Kurt Busch will be our guest analyst in the booth for that event. Also, the Cup race comes your way on Sunday. That is the 1000bulbs.com 500, 1 o'clock Sunday. Don't forget NASCAR Live every Tuesday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Also, we've just gotten word that Levine Family Racing has a press conference coming up Wednesday at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, 1:30 Eastern Time. Check MRN.com for some more details about that. We expect some kind of an announcement about their future after Cain had a private test that didn't quite work out, so we'll keep you up to date on that at MRN.com. I'm Woody Cain. He's Joey Meier. We'll see you right back here next week for another edition of MRN Motorsports Monday.